We're here at the AVPN Global Conference for 2025 in Hong Kong, and with me today is Avinash Mishra. Avinash is the Chief Investment Officer for the Global Innovation Fund. Avinash, welcome.
Thank you, pleasure to be here.
Thanks so much for joining us. Tell us a little bit about the Global Innovation Fund and what your priorities are.
The Global Innovation Fund, we are in our 11th year of existence actually, and our mission is to find and fund innovations which can help improve the lives and well-being of those living in poverty across Sub-Saharan Africa, South Asia and Southeast Asia. The way that we do this is by making grants and catalytic early stage investments through equity or debt into promising ideas and innovations which either bring economic development, job creation opportunities, climate adaptation and resilience, and gender equity for the beneficiaries in these markets.
Is this about creating new types of financial solutions to these big problems and, you know, I suppose catalysing impact through blended finance?
So increasingly so. I think we are in a world wherein capital for impact is at an interesting juncture. While government fundings are under severe pressure and we are seeing some challenges on that front, but the private sector is stepping up in a big way and playing an outsized role. The government, for its part, is also being an interesting stakeholder in using their capital more creatively. So I think all parts of the ecosystem, whether it's the private sector, philanthropy, even larger institutional investors or the government, are working towards the same mission, that we need trillions of dollars to meet the SDG goals. How do we make that happen in a limited resource constrained environment? And I think blended finance, using creative investment structures and innovative financing mechanisms is one of the tools that is being looked at, and we ourselves have been deploying it for several years in our investments. And now most recently with a new fund that we've launched ourselves, which really brings together all of these different flavors of capital to create the right kind of risk-reward structure, which makes it palatable for private investors who otherwise might not consider investing in these markets or these kind of innovations which are perceived to be high risk, to welcome them and then to make them consider these investments.
And are they considering these investments?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes. I think it is going to be a road.
Yes.
And as with any new idea, you need to generate proof points along the way.
Mm-hmm. It's evidence-based, is it not?
It is evidence-based, yes. So our investing downstream is evidence-based, and our own portfolio is delivering impact. In fact, over the last 10 years, we've committed $150 million of our own capital to nearly 80 innovations. I'm very happy to say that for every dollar that we've invested, we've helped mobilize approximately $9 of additional funding into the portfolio. So that's well over $1 billion that we've helped mobilize. But we're also trying to do it at our fund level. And the hope is that over the next 10 years, we can maybe even double that by leveraging our capital at the fund level in the first instance, and then having the same kind of multiplier downstream at the portfolio level, and to really have that effect.
What sort of return are you getting?
So I think that's a difficult question because there are real trade-offs between returns and catalyzing some markets. Impact investing is a wide landscape. We have sectors and markets which are further along. So financial inclusion in India is offering different returns to water and sanitation in East Africa, for example. And so we have to be mindful in terms of what is the social value that we're trying to create, and then measure that against the returns. I think as impact investors, we owe it to ourselves to not compare apples to oranges.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so which is why one of the frameworks that we've used is just a cost-benefit analysis and a social rate of return on our investments. And so this portfolio that we've created, we were able to do that analysis for just a small subset of that portfolio, 6 companies, which are most mature, most sort of scaled. And we estimate that we've actually created social value of in excess of $2 billion in just those small subset of organizations. So even if you look at our entire cost base of close to about $200 million, that's 10x value that we've generated. Financial returns are also important, I would say, but they take time to come, and very often the case with impact
it
markets.
Takes longer.
It does take longer. So it does require patience, and it does require trade-offs in terms of not being able to achieve market rate returns in certain markets and certain sectors, which is just a reality of.
Which is why it's harder to attract that private sector capital. is it not?
Exactly, and which is why creative blend financing can actually help boost the private sector returns. Because certain other forms of capital, like the ODA funding we receive from our partners at FCDO, SIDA in Sweden, etc., their money is not expecting returns. So if used right, not only can it de-risk downside for private investors, if blended in with their capital, we can actually potentially enhance their returns and make the whole investment proposal sort of more attractive for private investors.
So is part of the problem scale when we're looking at the types of initiatives and types of ventures you're creating?
100%. That has to be the ambition, and that is our ambition as well. We use, of course, rigorous evidence all along the way, but the journey to scale for these impactful organizations is hard. Capital is one important part of it, and all of these innovative financing structures help in making sure that the companies keep getting capital at the right stages and the right amounts. But it requires other things as well. It requires technical assistance, active portfolio management. We have an ESG team which works very closely around governance and putting in place systems and best practices, because those are things that tend to get overlooked in the early stages, but when the rubber meets the road at scale, sometimes those are the things that can be the difference between whether or not you get the next round of DFI funding and whether you are able to scale or not. So we're very cognizant of the fact that yes, our capital plays a role, but there is more in
more
terms
to be done.
Exactly.
When you look out over the next 5 years or so, what does it look like to you? I mean, does this get easier? Are you finding that your reception is changing?
I think so. I think impact investing overall has been on this journey wherein it has become more and more mainstream. You would read reports and see data which would indicate that the impact investing industry is worth over $1 trillion now. Now, I take that with a slight pinch of salt because obviously you can widen the definition and increase that this number of dollars, but it still means that it is getting a lot of attention from institutional investors and actors like pension funds and insurance companies, which wouldn't otherwise have looked at the sector maybe 5-10 years back. So there's definitely more room for more capital coming in and more people getting interested in taking notice of the fact that there is this asset class which is emerging, which is leading to more innovations around blended finance, around fund structuring, and that'll be a virtuous cycle. I think the more larger investors get interested, the more innovation it will lead to, the more funding opportunities, which will then attract more capital as well.
And then have more impact.
100%. That's always at the heart of everything that we're trying to do.
Yeah, fantastic. Avinash, thank you so much for talking to us today.
Yeah, no, fantastic. Pleasure.
Amazing.